Hey, this is Rick Brandenburg for Turf Bugs and Rock and Roll, and I'm sitting here in my son's home video editing studio, and we're going to talk about warm weather for just a few minutes, simply because that's a topic that has come to my attention over the last couple of weeks relative to insects. We'll get started on the video relative to Russian bots and fake news and all those sorts of things next week. But anyways, here in Raleigh since Christmas, it's been very, very warm. We've had a lot of days in the 60s and 70s. Today it's supposed to be like 76. Which isn't Miami Beach, but it's still relatively warm for Raleigh, North Carolina. So I get questions, can I take advantage of this warm weather and get some insect control? And the real reason that question comes out is because this time of year most people are down on work activities and they have the free time to pursue other things. And if you could knock out some insect problems in the wintertime and have an impact in the spring, that perhaps would be a valuable use of your time during the colder winter season. So right after Christmas, the 27th, something like that, it was really warm in the 70s. My neighbors came over and they said, Rick, we're working in the yard and we've got fire ant mounds and the fire ants are really active. So as you can see in this video, which was taken on December 27th in Raleigh, North Carolina, I kicked the mound and the fire ants were indeed very active. At the beginning of the video, you can see some winged fire ants, and it indicated that the ants potentially could be controlled because they were so active. So I immediately got some fire ant bait that I know is very effective and bait that I know works within 24 to 48 hours, and I applied it in the area surrounding the mounds in their yard. We got a very light rain the next day, not much, but temperatures cooled off a little bit into the 50s or so. And then about a week later, I went back to those same mounds, temperatures were back in the 70s, and kicked them again just to see how effective the bait was. And as you can see in this video is taken 7 days later, temperatures in the 70s, and the fire ants still are very, very active, indicating the bait, which I know is effective, simply did not work very well. So what that tells us, and this is a common theme when we get warm spells in the wintertime, the fire ants were active, but they weren't actively foraging. In other words, they weren't really going out and collecting the bait and taking it back to the mound where it would be ingested by the colony. They were active enough to defend the mound if you kicked it, but they weren't actively feeding. And that's a real typical trend that we see in the wintertime. Insects may get active, but our ability to really control them effectively, whether it be baits or just contact insecticides or whatever, usually is minimized. So as a general rule of thumb, even when you have extended warm periods like we've had for 3 weeks here in Raleigh, you're still really not going to get much in return for your investment in insect control this time of year. Hope that helps. Look forward to talking with you again soon about Russian bots. See ya.